Okay, so we are talking about the product catalog application, and in the previous video we spent time talking about the model. What we're going to do in this part 2 is we're going to talk about the controller. So when you think about this controller file, you ask yourself the question, why would you land on this page? And it's possible to land on this page for many different reasons. And if you look through this file, you'll notice one of the reasons is you want to see a list of the products. Another reason is you want to view a specific product. And I don't see anything else, so that would be it for this particular controller. And so what they're doing is they're looking to see if an action attribute was sent into this PHP document. And there are two ways that could be sent through. It could be done on a post or a get coming from a form, or it could be just placed on the URL address bar. Either way, it would be coming in, and action would be the name of the parameter. So it tries to read it from the action, it tries to read action from the post array, and if it's null, it means it couldn't find it there. So then it tries to read it from the get array, and if it couldn't find it there, that means no action attribute was passed in, so then it just assumes that you want to see a list of the products. And if that's the case, it then looks at the category ID. So basically, if you say that you want to see a list of products, there has to be a category as well, because it's only going to show the products for a specific category. So what it does is it then tries to get the category ID from the get. Notice it only looks at the get. That's because action is always passed in with the get method when you want to list products for a certain category. So action is passed in, category ID, they're both passed in together using the get in this scenario of list products. Now, of course, if category ID is left out, or if it's not an integer, then we assume it's 1. In other words, we grab the first one. So if you're coming into this page with no input parameters, so action is not there, it assumes list products. Comes in, if the category ID is not there, it assumes the first category by default. You call the model here, and you get the entire list of categories. Then you call the model again, and you pass it the category ID to get its name, and then you call the model again to get the list of products by category. And here's the category ID. And this list of products is what you want to show in a table. Now, to do that, we include productlist.php. Productlist.php includes a header. Now, you might be thinking, why does it include the header here? Why does it include it now? Let's back up to the main page here, the controller. Everything that's been happening so far has not involved any HTML, unless there was an error, in which case you'd never have gotten to this point anyway. So if you get down into here, no HTML has been generated yet. So by the time you hit this include here, no HTML has been produced. So it's okay to do this header at this point because, again, no HTML has been generated. So product list generates the tables. And this file is a view. It's user interface. You're not calling any model functions here. Index is the controller. Index reaches into the model to get the data, and it's doing that here. And then index reaches into the view here. And the view extracts information from the model, from the controller. because these variables were created by the controller. So you come in, you build a header, and you go into a for each loop, and you extract out of your categories array each category record one by one, and you make a hyperlink echoing out. Notice here, question mark, category ID equals, and then you're echoing out the number. So it will be question mark, category ID equals 1 or 2 or 3, implying that when you click on a link, it will go to the same page, and it will use the URL to pass in a name-value pair, thus taking advantage of the get approach, which if I go back to my controller, will get picked up here, and then come in here, and then it will expect to see a category ID. Well, where's the category ID? Well, it's passed in this hyperlink. So this is going to generate that set of categories on the left side of the page. And each one of these categories, when clicked, will refresh the controller page, passing in a category ID. Once we've done that, we then build the products for that category. So we echo out the name of the category that we're looking at. We get into the products array. We go one by one through it, looking at each product record. We make a hyperlink, and we notice here, set the action equal to view product. And this amp here puts an ampersand into the URL so that it'll say question mark action equals view product and product ID equals whatever number, so that each product will be linked to its ID, so that when it's clicked upon, it will reload the controller page. The action will be set to view product, and there will be a product ID. So that's all taken care of for us. In this case up here, the categories get posted to this page, but there's no action attribute. All you're seeing is a category. So going back to the controller, when that page comes up, there won't be an action attribute. So it'll list products, and it will find a category ID. And so it'll basically show all the products for that category. So we do this, we show the footer, and that's it. So that is the section essentially for listing products for a specific category. Now what about the view product? So you pick a product in this page, you want to view it. Well, we already saw that when we listed out our products, we have a hyperlink here. And the action is view product, and we attach the product ID. So when we come in here at the top of the controller, we will find an action, and that action will be coming through via the URL. So it'll come through as a get element. So this will kick in. Action will equal view product. So it won't do this section, it'll come down to this one. So what we want to do here is view a specific product. We're going to check out that product ID that was passed in and make sure it's valid. If it's not valid or it's missing, we're going to create a string for an error, and we're going to include error.php, which will display the error and stop any further processing. Otherwise, if we do successfully retrieve the product ID, then what we're going to do is get all the categories, get the product that they want to see, which comes back as an array. We're going to get the code, the name, and the price, store them in variables. We're going to calculate a discount of 30%, and we're going to convert that into an amount. So we take the percent, divide it by 100, multiply by the price, and we round it to 2 decimal places. Unit price equals list price minus discount amount. Then we format both of these numbers to 2 decimal place precision. Now, You might think, well, we already did that up here, right? We rounded up here to 2 decimal places. What number format does is it also adds in 1,000 separators. So it was good that we rounded to 2 digits, but when we display, we still want those 2 digits, but we also want the 1,000 separators. And that will give that to us for both. We're going to create a variable for an image, a file name. It's going to be dot dot, which goes up, goes into the images folder. And we're going to throw the product code in with a .png. So what they've done is they've gone into images, and for every product name, they've created an image. And the product codes are in the file name. So those are all my products now. So if your product is precision, your code would actually be precision, okay? That's going to be the file for you, a .png file. Image alt tag will be set to image : precision.png. It's going to tell you what the file is as a pop-up if you can't see the image because it's turned off or whatever. So then it includes product underscore view, which, like product underscore list, which gives you a list of products, this particular view gives you information for one product only. And again, this is a view. Product view and product list are both views. You don't have any calls to the model in this page. All you're doing is accessing things on the controller. Even back here in product list, which is another view, no model code is called. Now, why do I make such a big deal out of that? Well, for interchangeability. If your model and your view don't know about each other, they're completely interchangeable. You can take one view and pop in 2 different models. You can take one model, pop into 2 different views. Now the controller can't be ignorant. It's the glue between the two. It has to know about both. But the model and the view should be separate if possible. Not always possible, but that's what we strive for. Let's get back to our view page. This code shows the categories on the left side. We already talked about that. In our main section, we echo the name of the product, and we show in the left column an image whose source is the file name. And here's our alt tag. So we're seeing a picture on the left side. On the right side, we're getting the list price discount. All this stuff is displayed. And then there's a form which echoes a link to a shopping cart with a post method. And you can see here there's a hidden input control with a product ID, and then there's a quantity here as well. Now, all of this stuff, adding to cart, is not something we're going to deal with in this chapter, but as you can see, they're putting in some code here to pave the way for that in subsequent chapters. It turns out, if you look at the structure of the code here, if you look at book apps, they've got examples up through chapter 5, and there's this big gap here between 5 and 11. Well, they keep coming back to 5 for all those chapters and enhancing what we have in 5. So if you understand 5, that's good, because we're going to be using it for the next 6 chapters. Okay, so things wrap up, we include the footer, and that takes care of the view page, which takes care of product catalog. Now in the third video I'm going to make here, which will come up next, we'll take a look at the product manager. And that'll conclude our series of 3 videos for this week. So I'll see you in the third video where we'll cover the final application, the product manager.